And here with us today to discuss the legacy of Mandela is South African Consul General George Mon. Now, first, Nelson Mandela is regarded by most people to be a hero, but during his lifetime, many of his opposition tried to sully his name. What is it that this new young generation of South Africans are going to learn about the now late Nelson Mandela?
Well, Nelson Mandela was a global iconic figure who dedicated his life to gallantly fight for the liberation of the people of South Africa. And I think it is that dedication and the spirit that he had for wanting to have a free and just South Africa that people from today can learn from. Later on in his life, he went on to become a universal figure who basically fought for human rights, for a just and free and better world for all. He also advocated the fact that people had to invest themselves in community development to make sure that we create better conditions for all to live in. And I think today's generation should learn from that, and they should continue to involve themselves in the betterment of people.
Now, one time Nelson Mandela addressed an American audience, and his quote was, "One of the mistakes the Western world makes is to think that their enemies should be our enemies." Now, can you tell us a little bit more about Nelson Mandela's relationship with the various leaders of the United States during Nelson Mandela's lifetime?
Well, during his lifetime, I think he had a great relationship with the various leaders of the United States. In fact, let me say that he was the first to recognize the fact that people in the United States played a very critical role in assisting the cause of liberating our people in South Africa. One of the first few places that he visited after being released from his incarceration was New York City and the various cities throughout the U.S. And that was in itself a way of saying thank you to the American people for the role that they played in our emancipation. He continued to engage anyone who was willing to engage with the view that we can still be able to hold different views but work towards a similar cause, which was always the cause for a better life for all throughout the world.
Now, I was raised in Boston, Massachusetts, and I vividly remember seeing Nelson Mandela and Winnie Mandela come to visit us, and we were right next to his limo. And so, you know, the work that he did has cleared the path for young generations of South Africans. What do you think his words would be to young South Africans about the work that still needs to be done to improve race relations and class relations in the country?
Well, firstly, I think he has left us the legacy for reconciliation and forgiveness. He did not let his past define where we could be as a people and where we can get to as South Africa. So I think we need to learn from that reconciliation and forgiveness. Secondly, I want to quote and paraphrase him when he said that it seems impossible until it is done. Yes. And I think that is very important for the young people of today to really adopt that in terms of whatever they would want to pursue. And I think thirdly and most importantly, he said that education is the one weapon that you can use to change the world. And I think our young people should embrace education as something that can actually take us forward, that's something that can provide us with choices as we try to change the world for the better.
These are words to live by. Thank you so much. That was South African Consul General George Mon.